Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So today we're just doing a family house. I've had to split this into two parts, otherwise it would be too long a video. So we're just going to do the lower floor today, the first floor of the house. So here we are just building the outside of the house, starting on that first floor and moving our way up to make the shape of the entire build. I haven't kept it packed specific or anything, I've just kept it as I would normally build a family home. Just adding a porch on the front here, and I add a porch on the back as well. And the idea is just to make it feel like super homely. I make sure it looks like a family like lives there with clutter and just generally what you find around a lived-in home. So here I am just adding a roof onto the back porch. Add one onto the front porch as well. I really enjoy doing these types of builds. I think that it lets me explore my creativity with the Sims just a little bit more. I think the challenges are good because they help me step out of my comfort zone, but coming back to these kind of builds I really enjoy. Just popping that house onto the foundation there, and popping the stairs there just between the foundation. Popping some stairs in the back as well. I wanted them to be in the center, so I just had to keep the walls up. Adding some columns just to make it look just a little bit more realistic as well. If you guys have any suggestions on what you would like to see from my builds, just let me know in the comments as well. So I added this fencing, although it doesn't match the columns, so I have to change the color of the columns to kind of match it better. I wanted to keep it kind of simple. I didn't want it to look super expensive. I just wanted it to look like a normal home. Just moving the lot back a little bit so we can have a bit more of a front garden. I don't do any landscaping or much landscaping in this, but I'll do it in the next part. I'll probably upload the next part tomorrow. Just deciding what I want here for the wallpaper of the house for the outside. I wanted to do sort of a two-tone thing, so I knew I wanted bricks and the wood. So I was just experimenting and seeing what kind of wood I was wanting. I do like this season's wood, but I think it was a bit too rustic for the build. So I thought it would look more normal in sort of a suburban setting. So just change that up. So here you can see I'm just changing that for the siding there. I do realize I missed some parts out, and I do fix them later on once I discover them. Just putting in the foundation here for the build, and popping in some windows. I think the Seasons windows are probably my favorite windows in the entire catalog. They're cheap, and I think they look so nice, quite honestly. I do change the window. I was going to use this cats and dogs one, but I changed it for a Seasons one just to match better with the windows that are there at the moment. So I was working out where I preferred the windows there, if I preferred them further in or further out, because they wouldn't sit center, so I needed to work that out just then. Popping in a front door there, and just a back door as well. Here I am just trying to figure out where I want the stairs. I really like the tool that EA added where it allows us to curve the staircases. I think it adds a lot to our home, or the Sims homes. So here I am just sorting out the floor plan, kind of trying to figure out where I want things to be. So I actually moved those windows out so they're even on both sides, but that ends up becoming a laundry and a half bathroom downstairs, and just working on the upstairs floor plan now as well. So this ends up being a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house, which I think is a good size for a family. Just making sure that that master ensuite has a window as well, and the bathroom downstairs. Popping in some archways so it feels a bit more open and the light can move through the house rather than just all being individual rooms. And that becomes a family bathroom over there. So just sorting out some fencing around the stairs here, and just popping on a stair railing. I've gone for this weathered board on the porches again. I just really think it looks nice and suits being outside. And just putting all the flooring out throughout the house. I decided carpeting was a bit nicer for the bedrooms just to keep them a bit warmer. I decided to go with some nice bright colors for the house. I thought that it suited just a little more, and I thought that it was a bit more family friendly. So I just do some very basic terrain paint here and just some basic landscaping, but it's not a completed product yet. Um, I'll show the rest of the landscaping and the upstairs in my video tomorrow. I really like that bush from Cats and Dogs. I think it adds a lot of volume to the garden. And I think in combination with some other flowers, it looks really, really nice actually. My idea with this garden, even though I haven't quite finished it yet, is that I want it to be a very relaxed garden. I don't want it to look overly manicured. I want it to look very natural, as if it kind of just grew there and they left it. So moving on to the inside now, moving on to some furnishings. I start out with a rug at the front door and just some general clutter items. So there's a shoe rack, there's a coat hanger, and I use the umbrella stand in Seasons as well. And just popping some curtains up as well. So I decided this area is quite big for just having it as an entry hall, and I made it a family study as well. So there's a computer there for for your Sims to use. I think computers are really important in The Sims 4. It lets you do a lot more. And just popping some dog leashes up there as well. So just popping some lighting throughout the house here. Just so I can see what I'm furnishing and what it looks like. And I realized I messed up the fencing there, so I kind of had to go back so that the roof wouldn't clip through. And then finishing up with that lighting. So this is what's going to be the kitchen. I love those parenthood counters. I think they look really, really nice. And make it look super homely. So I like doing that combination. I think it looks like more of a built-in unit, and just looks more intentional. It's also really good for adding some clutter items onto. Just popping some blinds on those windows there. I popped the two on there so that the whole window is covered without making the blind any bigger. Because I like the length of the blind, but it's just a bit small for those three wide windows. And I was trying to get this cupboard to go onto the wall, but it somehow wouldn't do it from the front, so I just had to do it from the top view there. Just pop your microwave in there, and as I said, just some clutter items. They're nice in that area. Just adding normal things you'd see around the kitchen here. So some tea and some kitchen roll and some utensils that you have normally next to the stove or above the stove. And just adding a dining table as well. I think it's quite nice for a family, especially if you have seasons. I think it's nice because you can have a big grand meal there. So this is a kitchen diner rather than just being a kitchen. So just looking for a rug to put underneath there. I don't normally add the fire sprinkler into builds, but I actually think it's a lot more useful, especially if your Sims don't have a high cooking skill. It means that when they freak out about having a fire, it's still getting extinguished. So just figuring out what sofa I wanted in the living room here. Decided on these ones. I pull it away from the wall because I know that I'm going to add curtains in there, and I don't like when the curtains clip into the sofa. So just finishing up the living room here, popping in just a little armchair there and the TV, and then a coffee table. Moved that coffee table around to the side, or I spun it around to the side there because I personally prefer when the wood on the coffee grain goes on the coffee table goes the same way as the wood on the floor. I just think it looks a little bit nicer. So I realize that this backbit looks a little empty and there's no bookshelf in that area at the front, so I just add a bookshelf in here as well. And just adding, and I realize that they can be used as bookshelves, just adding some more clutter though, so it looks a bit more realistic. And I thought that wall in the kitchen looked just a bit empty, so I added that bacon and egg, or that breakfast picture in. And I realized I forgot lighting in the bathroom and laundry. And here you can see I was kind of struggling to see where I could put the toilet roll in, just because if you put the walls down, then it puts the walls down there and you can't put them in the right area. And I added a laundry basket just in case I forget upstairs. Adding some holiday decorations in there. I like having them, and I just think they're quite nice. And just that family, that board from Parenthood as well. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching today, and I'll post the next part tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.